Every Batman needs a Robin. Nate Condie, I call my right hand. I'll call you Robin today, mate. How you doing?
Good to be back.
Did you think we would be this busy come November this year, do you reckon?
No, nothing could have prepared us.
The market is gone bonkers. If you hear me talk about this market feeling like it's COVID all over again, this is COVID-esque. Banks are taking a pick-up applications.
Exactly.
4 to 5 weeks, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Now you see people chasing really quick gains when they should really be in the property market against leverageable assets.
Before this year, we weren't doing a lot. 90 to 95% of the purchases we're doing are in trust.
I knew at some point this golden patch equity becomes our number one driver. We're taking them from 1 to 3 very quickly. I don't care about rate because I want to grow and scale my portfolio as well.
If you go to a broker who's just quick, they might not get you the outcome you need.
Get everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Australian Property Investment Podcast. Every Batman needs a Robin. Yes, I'm calling myself Batman here. But for those that have been around long enough that have dealt with myself or Damien and the team, you will know Nate Condie. He's been on the podcast before as well. Nate, I call my right hand. I'll call you Robin today, mate. How you doing?
Good to be back.
Welcome back, mate. I love having you back on. So again, like I mentioned, if you guys are dealing with myself in broking land, Nate is my right hand who does a lot of the loan strategies, for example. And I'd probably start by saying and asking you, Nate, did you think we would be this busy come November this year, do you reckon?
You've always said it, we will. We're only going to get more busy. But no, nothing could have prepared us.
For the intensity?
Yeah. And I don't know, I feel like some of the demand's always been there, but we've always, there's always been brokers that, some aren't busy, and we've always said we're lucky to be in the position we're in. But I feel like right now every broker's busy. Yeah. Well, that's what we're hearing anyway.
Correct.
Right? So, yeah. No.
I mean, we're hearing, and then we're also seeing because, look, part of the discussion that we're going to have is we're letting a lot of you guys behind the scenes into what happens day to day in our brokerage. Yeah, I think this is what you guys want to hear. A lot of people have been reaching out saying you're loving this type of content, and that's what I want to deliver for you guys. So welcome into the brokerage, let you in behind the scenes and talk about what's going on. What you mentioned before there, Nate, was we're all busy. The real lead indicator for busyness is the amount of time that banks are taking to pick up applications.
Exactly.
Right. So that's the ultimate lead indicator that if we think we're busy, but then every bank's running well behind their turnaround times, well, that's a massive, indicator that the market is going bonkers, which is why I call this like a COVID style property market, because we're back there with like one of our lenders. What's their turnaround time?
4 to 5 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
4 to 5 weeks. What, to pick up a brand new application?
To pick it up. Yeah, or pre-approval to pick it up. If it's a purchase, they're still around that amount of time anyway because we submitted one.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
You talk about 4 to 5 weeks. That's where ANZ was during COVID. For 30 business days to pick up a new application. If you hear me talk about this market feeling like it's COVID all over again, that's case in point as to why that sentiment is there. When I look at it, or when we look at every property market across the country being on fire, that's like COVID. When you see it, most properties are going to auction. They won't take pre-auction offers, for example. They're happy to go to an auction campaign. That's like COVID, where it's a seller's market. Where we've got clients, the only way to buy properties to go unconditional because they're not going to get a cooling off period. That's like COVID all over again. So yeah, to me, I'm beating this drum to go. People will look back and go, oh, that was like this real sweet spot in time. I'm like, I'm calling it as we're in it to go, this is COVID-esque. Yeah. Rates have come down, for example. People are willing to buy property. They're in the market. And I think the other part is now you see people chasing really quick gains because they've missed out on property. That's why your Bitcoins, that's why your gold, for example, that's why people are clamoring to that because they're trying to chase a quick win when they should really be in the property market against leverageable assets. Now, I'm not saying don't have gold, don't have crypto. I think it's great. But when you're going balls to the wall on this stuff, I'm like, you can't leverage against it, dude, right? Yeah. What I want to chat with Nate is a couple of things that we're seeing purely from a lending perspective. This is our zone of genius. This is where we play. So, we don't do locations about where to buy. We don't do those type of things. It's very much hotspots. We stay in our lane because this is what we're pretty good at as well. So one I'd say is trust lending is probably one of the biggest. If we look back in 2025, this was the most topical word in lending has been trust lending, right?
Definitely, yeah. Before this year, we weren't doing a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we dabbled.
Yeah, we've definitely done them, but not to the extent, like I wouldn't have even called us experts at it because we didn't do it enough to like need to know the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
Now I tell the team like 90 to 95% of the purchases we're doing are in trusts, not just investment, like all up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing that this year we've seen a massive shift.
Yeah.
And it's I guess with the market going the way it is, everyone's just trying to buy.
Yeah.
Right? And they're trying
buy and scale
because they know everyone else wants to buy and scale. So it drives demand up, right? So yeah, that's what we've been seeing. And yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone's going to change, but we're thinking the banks are putting some restrictions in.
And I think I probably would have put this into a podcast episode, I reckon.
Yeah.
So this is the beauty when you speak publicly, it's out there in the open and it's time stamped. I said it would take someone, an overzealous chief risk officer or someone inside a bank going, how are these people financing these property portfolios on fairly average or modest incomes? Well, trust as a vehicle, okay, great. Now the trust is self-sufficient, exclude the debt, for example. I knew at some point, what do they call it? The cows come home to roost. What's the saying? That's lost me there. It's in the Wolf of Wall Street. Anyway, but I knew at some point this golden patch, it'd get to a point where banks are going to start to cotton on.
Yeah.
A lot of banks already stepped out of trust lending. Like Bankwest stepped out of trust lending a while ago.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to publicly open name banks because this is policy.
Yeah.
This is open policy, and we're well within our rights to be able to talk openly about banks' names and policy as well. Right. So Bankwest pulled back. Banks are capping sometimes LVRs at say 80%. Right. Yeah. And some banks, if you go over 80% in a trust, you've got to be P&I. Yeah. The non-banks are typically dominating this space because their freedom around borrowing capacity means you can purchase through there. The main requirement when buying through a non-bank lender through a trust is to be able to have an accountant's letter that the previous purchases in a trust are now self-sufficient.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah? Which some accountants are on board with, some aren't. For example, what defines self-sufficient or meeting its obligations, that's purely up to an accountant to have that conversation with as well. But then we've seen probably Australia's fifth biggest bank, if you call them that, have now come out with a policy around trust lending.
Yeah, and it's a policy they shouldn't have probably had in the first place. Like it was very generous where you could have other debt in trusts with them, set up a new trust and exclude the old trust debt. Now, generally with trust lending, you need to pivot banks per trust because they can see the old debt. And even if you've got an accountant's letter to say it's self-sufficient or trading profitably, they'll still include that in servicing. And with the bank's buffers, generally actually hurts servicing. So you do want to exclude it. This bank could see the debt. They exclude it anyway. No other bank rolled like that. So it was awesome, but they've now put a stop to that.
I think we can openly say it's Macquarie Bank.
Yeah.
Because I had a client reach out to me. I think it's obviously become public knowledge as well. So yeah, Macquarie Bank were pretty good in this space, particularly if you could service with Macquarie Bank. And that was probably the biggest caveat there.
Definitely. But definitely the best lenders to deal with.
Yeah.
As a broker and as a client.
Correct. You hear this all the time and time again. I mean, you see this in their results when they talk about the broker flows, when they talk about, the ability to turn around loans within 24 hours, 48 hours for approval. Mate, we're here not to spruik them, but here to go, well, that's their turnaround times. That's what they're delivering because they've invested so heavily into tech. They're getting great outcomes for people. It's bonkers what they can do sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So my concern is, I mean, like you said, it's a unique policy to them that you could stack multiple trusts and they could see all that as well. I don't think other lenders are going to follow suit because they don't have a very similar open source policy.
No one's got that policy.
Yeah. So I think I think at some point we knew that might run its course, and that happened probably a little bit quicker than we expected as well.
Yeah, but it is a sign that Macquarie is somewhat of a leader, would you say?
Absolutely. CBA Macquarie, typically your market movers with policy.
That's right. So if other banks see that, they might say, well, Macquarie is starting to, restrict their trust lending policies. We might follow suit, which,
we wouldn't be surprised.
Correct. Yeah.
I think for us, we've said it, there is a golden patch of trust lending we were in it, and I feel like we're kind of becoming, maybe it's running its course because they probably see how prevalent trust lending is. They go, there's no way those properties could be neutrally geared, for example, as well. I mean, at some point you could maybe have to show some evidence. That's right. Where I'd probably predict where it's going to get to, going, show me that this is, they're a non-trading entity. Show me that's a property holding entity. And if that property is holding property, then show me that it's neutrally geared.
Yeah, I'd say that, or LVR restrictions, like nothing over 80, or even 70, one day maybe, like commercial. Generally not over 70, or every bank might need an accountant's letter, because there's some banks that don't need the accountant's letter. They'll allow the broker to confirm it or the client. We could see those banks maybe switching to accountant's letter models.
Nicely said.
First,
Nicely said. So this is we're doubling down on this because I feel like, look, we don't let the cat out of the bag, particularly with how we do loan structures. We generally say, look, come into us, and Damien doesn't, but I particularly charge a loan strategy fee for a lot of new clients that do come in, because we do work so deep in their portfolios. We need the time and the hours to actually think with a very clear head, and no commission breath about us to just refinance loans to get paid for it. We do it. I'll tell you why I do refinance loans, and Nate will know why as well, because we do annual reviews on those loans. There's very few brokerages, there's very few banks that will actually go back and automate the loan review process. And this is not a tech tool. This is actually someone that I have in my business that monitors every single loan that we do on an annual basis as well. That's why if you have loans somewhere else, I'm going to bring it under our jurisdiction, so we can actually go and we have those loans under our ability to go and reprice those loans as well. I say to everyone that comes in, zero commission breath about us. We don't just go and refinance loans so we get paid for it. Sometimes we just leave loans where they are.
That's right. If the client doesn't want to bring them across, they don't have to. We're generally trying to get them a better outcome with a better rate anyway. Again, this is what we drum home. It's not about the rate either. It's about the equity, because if you've got to pay a higher rate, if you get more equity. It's more about us being able to have visibility over their loans. And if we want to do another strategy for moving forward, we can see their loan.
Correct.
If they're with another broker or with the bank directly, we have no visibility on that.
Yeah.
And we can't, it's just an extra step and a bit more of a hassle getting that done.
Yeah. And again, to your point, and people going, well, hang on, give me this to me in layperson's terms. What we are typically trying to do is equity becomes our number one driver. So how do we revalue properties? And I'll give you guys a good example. We had one where the client's got one investment property. We're now trying to take the equity to go and buy a second investment property, which was a land and build up in Queensland. Now they've got a good cash deposit. We said we didn't really want them using cash. We want that cash sitting in their offset account. Now, up until yesterday, the best case equity release we could do on that current property that they had was about 64K. Said to Nate, I'm like, mate, work your magic. Try and get me as much equity as we can out of this property. We did multiple valuations. We came back, Bank West came through, and we did an equity release on 164K.
And like, for context, the property's only worth, I think, all the other banks are saying about 460. So like percentage-wise, that's massive. It's an extra 100K we got like on the valuation.
That's what running multiple vals does. That's what running multiple valuations does. You'll be surprised at how many brokers don't actually run. And how much effort did that take you, do you think?
2 minutes.
There we go, right?
And it's, well, a lot of brokers just don't go outside, like don't go out of their main lenders. They'll just stick to a couple that they know. There's lenders we're very familiar with. Some, how many have we used in the last 12 months?
Yeah, I told you this with Damien. I've used 22. I ran my numbers the other day. 22 in the last, this calendar year to date that we're in.
So there's probably a couple of them we haven't done a whole lot with, but
we know the drill. If we had to go to
if we had to go there, we will. Get the vals done, and we can get good outcomes for clients rather than sinking their cash into an investment property.
Here we go. So here's the moral of the story. So if we only stuck with that $64,000, they would have been chipping in probably about 100 and 180 or something. It was a decent contribution. With the extra 100 grand, we've been able to 100 grand in equity that we've been able to release. That's $100,000 they've not had to put in. And now their cash can sit in the offset account. They've already got another deposit ready to go. So we're taking them from 1 to 3 very quickly, as opposed from 1, stuck at house and land, wait for that to complete, wait for that to get revalued, then pull the equity. We could do the third investment property while that property is being built.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about when people talk about how do I scale. This is just one example of many when we talk about don't get attached to a bank. Don't think you're buying a particular colored loan from a particular bank. If it means we get 164K in equity, and this client, when we sent to her last night, she was like, bang, done. There's not even a conversation at that point. She's like, yeah, let's go ahead and get this the application underway. That's, I think, where we try to take the friction out of a lot of this, where I think a lot of friction happens when it's stuck in rate.
Yeah.
We're talking outcome. And that's what, when I beat the drum of being a strategic mortgage broker, that's what that looks like in real life. That's what it looks like in practicality as well, that we're looking for an outcome. We're not looking for a rate. Yeah. So that's one. The next point here, and it's probably starting to do the rounds, which is I have a investment. I'll give you my real life example because this might help. So Aaron and Bernadette, we have an investment property in WA in our individual names. That loan is in our individual names as well. Now what happens is with a couple of lenders, I can take that loan that's in our individual names and I can refinance that loan into a trust. So the trust is the borrower. The ownership still stays as Aaron and Bernadette. So technically we can still claim negative gearing. I've spoken to our accountant as well, who's a gun. And I'm like, what am I missing here? What's the, like, there's no problems. As long as Aaron and Bernadette now have a loan agreement between you guys, us, and the trust, you're happy, you can easily move that investment loan into the trust.
Yeah.
And now effectively what happens is we can ring fence the debt, still have that loan in our personal names, still get the gearing, and it's like that frees up borrowing capacity. We scratched our heads for a while.
It's wild.
What are we missing?
Get my head around why. I mean, the banks are so nonchalant about it. The ones that have said yes, they're just like, yeah, it's done. Where that may catch people out, if you are trying to hide the debt or ring fence it, if you are self-employed, which is, from what I understand, when you're self-employed, this strategy works best for you. If you're doing an application with the bank, you need to provide your financials. If they see that, you're still claiming negative gearing on the individual tax return, well, they know you've got that property. They correspond that with the credit report. Well, they see that on the credit report, you've got a directorship. They can still see that essentially.
Yeah.
So there's
it's not a bulletproof strategy. Like anything, is this applicable for you? Are you eligible for it as well? And is this going to help you move the needle? So like, what's the saying? If you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and you just will keep beating everything up. So it's the same thing. I mean, clients have come back to us saying, should I move this into a trust? We're like, look, you could, but it's really not going to serve you any purpose. Like with the lenders that we need to go to, are they here, for example? And there's only 2 at this stage. We're really only confident, like maybe 3 banks that are like, that you qualify that can do it. So you've got to be able to meet their criteria. That's one. They've got to come back with the valuations on that property. That's step 2.
Yeah.
And then, servicing and being able to take the equity out there becomes the next part. So just because you can doesn't mean you're able to as well.
Yeah, and there's got to be a bit of planning to it, because most of the people that want to do it are already stuck. If your borrowing capacity is capped already, your ability to refinance is actually going to be worse, because now you can't claim negative gearing on that loan in servicing, I believe. While you do get it in person, because that loan's going into a trust, I don't think the bank will allocate negative gearing to it. So if you're capped, your borrowing capacity is going to be even worse. So you've got to plan it out beforehand.
So what Nate's alluding to there is, go back to Aaron and Bernadette. Now that property that we've got in WA is negatively geared. Yeah. Put that into the trust, but on the bank's calculators, which is our source of truth when we send a loan to bank, we can't actually give any negative gearing benefit to that asset. Yeah. So it will limit my borrowing capacity. And then by the time you tick the little box that you're buying through a trust, because you can't apply the negative gearing through a trust property for these particular banks that we're talking about, it will actually reduce your overall borrowing capacity. So if my borrowing capacity is already stretched and we're trying to refinance this loan into a trust, I may not even have the servicing to do a dollar for dollar refinance, let alone take any equity out as well.
Right.
So it's easy for us to say and roll off the tongue. I know if I was listening about what are these guys, they're saying it, they're talking another language.
Yeah.
Probably what needs to happen is when someone sends us in their numbers and we show them, okay, here's how it works. We typically do like a Loom video. We typically do a screen recording that goes out for our own strategies. And that's probably where we can then talk about the nuts and bolts of it that relate to you and your numbers.
It's a lot easier when you got the numbers in front of you.
Yeah, hard to explain over this type of medium. Watching on YouTube, you probably get a better feel for how we describe it as well. But I just want to put this firmly on the potty to go. There's going to be a lot of people that catch this because I'm seeing a lot of brokers now spruik this. And fair play, man, go nuts. You can advertise this, and you can definitely talk about this as an X factor in lending. But just know if we come back and say not suitable or you can't service, it's not through a lack of trying and effort. Geez, man, we do a lot of trying, a lot of effort. It may just be something that you just don't qualify for. It's nothing ventured, nothing gained. On the same note.
Yeah, and there's, as Aaron mentioned, there's only certain banks that will do it, which means if you do this and move that loan into that trust, you're stuck with them banks for the rest of the time that's in that trust.
Correct.
Right? So, I mean, it's like anything. If you change jobs or you go, I don't know, you have a certain employment structure, there's only certain banks that might take you. So, you've
really limited your pool to 3.
You've limited your pool. You've generally,
so you get a mad valuation, like that example yesterday. You get a mad valuation. It's like, yeah, you got the equity, but you can't actually tap into it.
Yeah.
And that becomes then part of the discussion. What is the most important thing? And people typically would come and go, rate's most important. Then I want borrowing capacity. Then I need equity, for example. Then I want an offset account. Then I want low fees. It's like, well, hang on. Is this truly important? Because if I'm an investor on a growth trajectory, I want equity to be number 1. Then I want borrowing capacity to be second. I don't care about rate because I want to grow and scale my portfolio as well. So be very careful about the order of priorities that you want. It's like putting this into a partner. I want them tall. I want them funny. I want them good looking. I want this, for example. You can't have it all. But speaking about partners, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Nate probably doesn't like where this is going. There's some big news. I got to say personally, man, I'm proud of Nate. You recently tied the knot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
For those that have been, and they won't connect the dots, but Kelsey Drake in our team is now Mrs. Condie.
Yeah.
So Nate married Kelsey, who's in our team. Mate, one thing that I do want to have a quick chat about is, and I've said this to you guys in private, a lot of people, and jealous is not the right word, but a lot of people secretly wish for how you guys celebrated your wedding, which to you guys' credit was fairly low key.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Quiet service, very, very small, private, followed by lunch with family, for example.
Yeah.
Ducked off for a week and a half honeymoon. But I think it says a lot about just, I think, priorities and doing things your own way.
Yeah.
That's not everyone's jam, but I think for you guys, it suited you to a point that it's like, hey man, we've got some bigger things to worry about. And like having a big grandiose wedding isn't the way that we're going to show our love for each other.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm not on social media anyway, so I don't need to show it off. Like I don't have that need in me, which I feel like a lot of people just do it for that or to, I don't know, satisfy their family. I only had our parents there. They were the only people there, just a couple of witnesses. Cheap.
But cheap's not a thing. I mean, you look at the photos and it's amazing. So
that's right.
It's like buying a cheap property. There's cheap, and then there's quality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We didn't cut corners on the photographer, but other than that, it's just not for us as well, like the whole being the center of attention. But yeah, it's just, you see the amount of money a wedding costs and the people that are there, and in a few years you might not even know them. Just, I don't know, we both wanted that and we both talked about that.
It's awesome.
Before we were even dating, like how we both one day didn't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it says a lot about an alignment, right? Because if one person wants it, the other person doesn't, then there's like a win-lose scenario, right? Whereas, and we speak openly about couples that invest, for example, or couples that are trying to get on the same page financially. If you can have that as a couple coming into a relationship going, hey, we respect each other's wishes and this is what we're trying to build as a unit, it probably makes your lives a lot easier that you have that sense of alignment as well.
Definitely. Yeah. So just chill. We'll both say
Yeah.
chill, which generally for a lot of people, it's a stressful period.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is not the way to start a marriage, personally, right? Like, how do you go about starting a relationship or, celebrate your marriage with a stressful day that you don't get to enjoy? Whereas I think you guys had a really different experience. And I'm super proud of Nate and Kels, two wonderful humans, literally here in our team, doing some amazing things and tying the knot. So, mate, congrats. I think for us, where I really want, throw that in the mix there as well. But where I really want to kind of just round out our chat, which is you and I see a lot of portfolios. A lot. I mean, you're probably on average are doing, I'd say, 3 scenarios a day, more.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So Nate's pretty much, I mean, the strategies that Nate's putting out, complex stuff. So multiple valuations, doing the rates, for example, servicing with these banks. If we buy this, then what does that next purchase look like? Generally, there's a lot of rework that comes off the back of that going, but what about this? And what about this? You do it with no begrudging work in that ability. It's like, we're here to help. We're here to serve. Again, the level of detail, this is feedback that I'm getting from people. Even Bernie stepped in last week. That's how busy we've been. You're working probably 7 days at the moment, as am I. Kelsey's doing the same. Like, we just can't work hard enough. And that's why I feel it's COVID all over again, because you and I can start it. You were here at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was here whatever hour it was the other morning, working till late nights. It just feels like COVID all over again, like the intensity of the workload. We had a client that even Bernie did a self-employed scenario, and they came to us last week, wanted to go to auction on the weekend, literally turned it around in a couple of days. And they've been on their broker for about 3 months trying to get a pre-approval going. And we said, mate, you can get this done with a higher purchase price within 48 hours as well. So guys, girls, if you're listening, I've always been very, very clear that none of this is about us ego, spruiking, farming, fishing for business. It's more just to say, if you want quality, if you want expertise, you've got to go to the right place. Yeah. Because when we talk about the lender usage that we've got, we're like, right, this policy is suitable here. We can go to equity here, for example, and we're kind of juggling the amount of balls that we're juggling in the air. If you want a job done, give it to a busy person is my moral of the story.
That's right. Like, and it's experience. Someone that, I don't know, isn't as busy as us. They're not doing as many scenarios. They're not learning. They're not making as many mistakes. Like, we learn from mistakes. We've made a lot of mistakes.
Well, the beauty is, like, you'll look at something and I'll look at something and go, 2 sets of eyes. And I told us a lot about your clients going, usually we're having 2 sets of eyes run over it.
Exactly.
And I'll be like, but what about that? And you're like, yeah, perfect. And I'll see things through a completely different lens based on my experience. Like, I'll be able to step away off the numbers and I can come up with a bit more helicopter view. You might be in the trenches, or I might do something you're like, actually, that's not going to work with that lender because you're so deeply rooted in lender policy, for example, that I'm like, mate, that policy, that door shut 6 months ago, and I'm still far behind. Or Damien was here before, and we're kind of workshopping a strategy literally before we came in here going, but we spoke about it. And that's why I talk about broking being such a team sport.
100%.
Because your strength is my weakness. My weakness is your strength, for example. It's like we can play off that a little bit more. And then as we're starting to build and grow the team, it's like we need more humans. Like, literally, this is a job ad coming through on the podcast as well. If you have any inclination to scratch the itch around mortgage broking, you're good with numbers, you're good with attention to detail, you actually care about clients and the outcomes that we're trying to get for people, you want to build portfolios. Everyone in this team, no one has come from banking. No one has come from a lending background. We've all come in here going, right, even the 4 newbies that we've hired recently, like no experience in broker land, have all come in and gone, right, we're going to teach you from the ground up how to become a weapon broker assistant, for example, and learn the ins and outs and policies. So if that's something that you're interested in, drop us a message. So go onto the website, the little pop-up box appears down the very bottom. I would love if you want to be part of the team. We do have high standards because we want to maintain that. We look for attitudes. We look for excellence.
Resourcefulness is my big one.
Here we go.
We don't say no. Someone comes in, we don't tell them no. We'll find a way. Okay. Right? Great. And not only that, finding, you don't need to know every single policy under the sun. As long as you know how to find it, you'll be good at this.
Great. I think being coachable, because
Coachable, yeah.
people will come in going, they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And often people, what they think is a mortgage broker's role is, I'm just going to go out there and get a loan and refinance and get paid, mate. None of our, I'd say 10% of our stuff is a refinance, purely on a rate. It's such little scope of our work is actually rate driven or refinance driven. The 80% of our stuff is all property purchases. So people are actively buying because we're solving a problem. Hey, I'm stuck on this. I want to go here. Great. Speak to that buyer's agent. Speak to that accountant. Here's how we're going to structure the loan, for example. And when we've been able to solve bigger problems, we just have attracted far more clients as well. To the point that we literally shut the books last 2 weeks. We weren't taking on new clients. And it was the first time ever in the history of me in broking, apart from me, say, being on a holiday, is the first time that we've actually had to say, look, we can't actually take on anyone new. To the point that we're even going to stop doing the podcast for a couple of weeks so we can catch our breath. Because there's no point actually trying to get new clients if we couldn't deliver. And we've kind of turned a corner at this point, probably because you worked all weekend and I tried to as well. But I think that's what the power of a really good team here does. It's the power of having great clients who reach out that are happy to wait a little bit to get a really good outcome. I could say, look, we're not really fast, but we'll be accurate. And I think that's, most people are happy with that.
I don't think we're slow.
By our standard.
By
our standard. But I think this is a normal turnaround. I think this is probably readjusting to this is a normal turnaround time. When I hear about a bank being 4 to 5 weeks to pick up an application, we're not slow in comparison.
And look, if you want it done right, I don't want to say don't come here and rush us, but you can't expect it to come to you.
Good things to come to those that wait a little bit, isn't it?
And we need time to get into your numbers, dig through it.
Let me give someone an example of what time, because even this surprises me. So for a client that had a portfolio, I think they've got about 4 or 5 properties. I got Shay, one of our newer team members. I'm like, right, go to these banks. Go to the big 4. Go to Bankwest, ING, Suncorp, Macquarie. Give me what the interest rates will be with these 10 banks. Now Shay has then got to go to the different banks through their their portals, submit the loan. The interest rate then goes to that bank. They will think about it. They'll give us back a counter rate. We then counter, say that's not good enough. Go back, escalate it is what we call it internally. That song and dance takes us over 48 hours just to figure out what the rate's going to be. So when someone asks us what the rate is, I'm like, mate, do you know it's a 48-hour turnaround? It's crazy. In 2025, the technology, that's still how archaic banking is and lending is. But to get someone the best rate and a bank to put their best foot forward, that's 2 rounds of kind of doing this song and dance, counter pricing each other. And that's why it does take us a few days to actually turn around a loan strategy, because sometimes we're actually waiting on what's the bank's best rate that they're going to actually offer a client as well. That blows your mind, doesn't it? The whole price, that we call it pricing. That's what pricing is. It's a bank going, this is how much the interest rate's going to be. That could take 24 to 48 hours to get across the line.
Yeah, exactly. And look, sometimes we will just do the first round of pricing and then give you your strategy. And then if it goes to application, we'll put together the best rate that, another bank's given us, provide that to another bank and say, hey, X bank's given us this, improve it if it's not already the best. But good things come to those who wait, as you said.
Yeah, cool. I think we've had, as we reflect, and we'll do our end of year reflection, but you'll probably get to that point in the year, Nate, where you go, look, you've had a big year as well, personally, professionally. I mean, we've kicked some major goals as a unit, as a team. One of the things that I'm really, really proud of that we got to do as a team was to go away this year. We took our team, we all head up to the Gold Coast for probably about a good three bit days, where we did our offsite, and we went deep, man. It's hard to think that was July. It feels like yesterday in a good way, but that really immersive experience where, one, I think we really galvanized ourselves as a team. 2, we spent a lot of time around personal and professional development as well. But most of all, we had a lot of fun, and we talk about building a culture here of high performance. I love when I see, I obviously go for the Roosters. I love when I see them go away to Queenstown and they go away like a high performance camp. That's something that really speaks to me, where you got to get out of this environment that we're in now, change environments and immerse yourself in something like that, where we had a lot of fun, But man, we also cover a lot of ground in terms of what our standards are in the business, where are we trying to get to, what's everyone's goals, dreams, ambitions that we want to deliver as a unit as well, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really good. And like I always say it to whether it's new guys or clients, we're all mates here. Like, and that just made it, I guess, it's all stronger as a team. And it's like we enjoy coming into the office. Like magic happens when we're in the office together.
Yeah.
You know, you can like working remote, whatever, but it's so much better when everyone's in.
It is, isn't it?
And it's just, from everything, from like an attitude perspective, but also like helping each other. We can help each other. We can get the best outcomes for each other.
It's a real counterpunch to work from home.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like when everyone's hybrid, work from home, for example, there's that recent win of a Westpac employee, fair play, big bank, for example, wants exclusive work from home. It's great, but it's like, broking as a single, solo individual. Like you can only do so much when you're left to your own devices.
Yeah.
You don't get to hear. So as a client, the benefit that you're getting with the team being here together is we get to hear the conversations. Training gets fast tracked. Like we can see a mistake that a team member's making, a newbie, and course correct it very quickly. Or if they're doing something really good, we can share that and go, right, that's the best way to do it. 9:30 every single morning, we're in here in this boardroom doing our daily, stand-up meeting, our whip, going through every single deal that we've got in the pipeline at the moment as well, making sure that nothing slips through the cracks.
Every single one, including yours. We talk about you every day.
Every single day. If an application is in flight, if it's a scenario that's going on, every single day, without fail, even if I'm out of the office or you're out, that show continues with or without us.
Yeah.
And again, when we've interviewed inside Broking Land, the amount of times that people say they never have a whip meeting or they have it once a week, I was like, mate, within 24 hours, so much has happened on someone's loan application. It's gone to a bank or waiting for something, or it's been bounced from the conveyancer, or there's settlement coming up, for example. So on our watch, we aim to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks. Now, mate, we've had some real doozies where, either settlement's been pushed out or there's some issue. That's par for the course. We can't sometimes control the uncontrollables. But what people are then looking for is how do we step up and resolve those issues when they do come to a head as well. And this whole team will say, we're not perfect. No client is perfect.
No bank is perfect.
No bank is perfect. But that's where the power of a real, dialed-in team is going to come into play. So if that's something that, speaks to you, and a lot of people have reached out to the podcast saying they're really resonating with maybe the energy, or they're resonating with our ethos and values, that's all we can really hope for. Because every single mortgage broker across the country has the exact same loans, has the exact same lenders, exact same product. They'll say they've got 100 banks, but they're only using a handful. How could we, with the same hours in the week, with the same products, how can we outperform the market? Well, it's because we've got a super, super dialed-in team, highly accountable. The systems and processes that were built then reflect that as well. Generally, most of our emails are responded to within 48 hours. Usually 24 is our standard.
By the end of the day.
Correct. And that becomes hard to scale, when we're doing a lot of work. But generally clients that have been around for enough time they're not having to chase us because they know there's trust in that relationship built. And if I was to finish on a note, that's probably the biggest thing that I say moves the needle for us is trust in our relationship with the team, but also with our clients. That's what goes the distance as well.
Communication, massively. And when there's other partners that they're working with not getting back to them in a certain amount of time, it makes us look good. But it shows that, I think we're extremely busy and we can reply. Anyone can.
Yeah.
It's just, about valuing the client and communicating that.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I'll finish on that note. In 2025, when our worth is like how we attract businesses by being responsive, that blows my mind, in this day and age. But that's what I'm sure as a client, if you're listening, that's what you want. You want accountability, you want trust, but most of all, you want communication. If that's something that really speaks to your heart, and maybe that's something that's been missing in your current relationship, mate, reach out to us. Yes, we said we're busy, but for the right people that want to join and grow a long-term portfolio, to wait maybe an extra week for your strategy, I don't think it's a massive ask as well.
For something that might take you further, if you go to a broker who's just quick, right, they might not get you the outcome you need.
And there's rework.
Well, it's just we could potentially get you a few extra properties, something like that.
Right.
You know, if that's what our strategy, you have to wait an extra week to get potentially be shown how to buy 2, 3, 4 more properties.
Yeah, which we've done a good track record on as well. So I like to let that do the talking in terms of our track record experience. Finish on that note saying if you know anyone that's looking for a role inside Brokerland that wants to become part of our loan strategy team, whether that's in a para-broking role, whether that's in a credit analyst role or loan strategist, we are actively looking and seeking for new team members to join us as well. As always, if you've loved this episode, mate, reach out. If you want to be part of the Property Accelerator, I've spoken about that previously as well. Love to have you on board. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. We'll talk to you soon.